everyone, this is Sashlea. You're listening to We Are In This Together. I am so excited because I have one of my best friends from forever. This girl and I have worked together. We have seen each other through childbearing years, all sorts of things.
Everything.
Yeah. So this is Jessa.
Hi.
I'm so excited to have her here with you. She is absolutely incredible. I'm excited to hear what she has to share today. She has actually been through some really dark times.
Mm-hmm.
And when I think and look at Jessa, she's always had this positive attitude. She's always had like this will to just keep going. And so I kind of want to like find out how you did that. And
it's not easy. We'll just say that.
Yeah. So I just kind of want to hear, like, tell us a little bit about you and kind of what happened. And
oh gosh, well, I don't even know where to start really, but I guess I'll start back. So I'm a mom. I've been married several times. So I have 2 kids with one of my husbands. We were married for 10 years almost. Went through a divorce, that's kind of a crazy experience. That was a really hard time in my life, but luckily my ex-husband that I had with those 2 kids, we divorced through love. So we co-parent really well. So that's a really cool story.
Yeah, that's huge. I might have you back on.
Yes. So divorce, that was kind of a crazy time, but, and then I actually had gotten remarried after my divorce fairly quickly. Got pregnant with my 3rd child, Greg. He is like this little ray of sunshine, but I actually went through that pregnancy alone. So he decided just that wasn't going to work for him, and so he went his way and I went my way, and I had this little soul by myself.
So like he wasn't there at all for you?
For the first part of it, he was, and that was, but no, we never lived together. He was in Wyoming and I was here in Utah. So I was pretty much alone, but that was a pretty crazy experience that I went through, but I learned a lot during that time.
For sure.
So had that little guy, and then the last, now I'm a mom of 6 kids. I found Josh, my like soulmate through all of this.
And you guys are really cute together.
Yeah,
just saying.
Thank you. Well, it's not perfect.
Yes,
you know how crazy life is with 6 kids.
And blending and all of that.
And so he's my third husband, and we are just living our life. It's pretty fun and crazy, but that's kind of where we're at.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so that's kind of my timeline from the last 5 years.
Okay, so tell me, because like me listening to that, there's so many pieces. Like I have been through divorce, so I understand that piece.
Yeah.
But I've never been through like having a child on my own or going through like a second and then a third, and like I don't know, because I watched you and I remember like feeling some of that darkness with you.
Yeah.
Like, because you're my friend and I love you.
Right.
And I remember feeling like that space, and like, what was that like? Like, what were you experiencing through all of that?
Honestly, it's so crazy because during that time in my life, I really, like in hindsight, looking back from that point, being alone and being pregnant and going through the motions of, am I strong enough? Am I capable enough? I'm a mom of 2 kids. I'm a really good mom. Like that's one thing I can claim.
Yes, you are.
That's the one thing in my life I really devote. Like I'm not perfect all the time, but I always am trying.
Yes.
And so I feel like I knew that I could have this child. And during that time, it was crazy because I had different influences from different walks of life, religious people, family people, friends who, even other people who were giving me their opinions on things.
Yeah.
People said I needed to put him up for adoption that I wasn't capable of.
Oh,
I had other sources that were telling me you need to abort this fetus, that you can't do this, like lots of things. So
many voices.
I fought really hard for that soul. Like his little soul, like he just had to be here, and he's got a special purpose. I'm just his biased mom, but he's a special kid.
Pretty special.
So that was kind of a crazy, hard thing to go through. So the darkness was really just isolating myself from everyone else's opinion and diving deep inside just to find my strength to know that I'm meant to be his mom. I'm meant to be my other 2's mom. I had agreements and special soul contracts with these little people, and they trusted me to get them here. And so that was kind of a crazy time, but it worked out.
Well, yeah. Well, I know, as I'm listening to you, because I'm hearing that, you had a lot of, not only was it your own thoughts, but it was everybody else's thoughts and everybody else's opinions, which I think were loved. They're coming from a place of love.
Absolutely.
They just wanted, they were just concerned. They didn't quite know, what to say or how to do that.
Well, because a lot of times being a 30-year-old woman and having been married since the time I was 18, and living the so-called perfect life that I was supposed to be living,
the expectations.
Yes.
How we should be.
having walked down that road and getting to not the end of that road, but having done everything I thought I was supposed to do and having the result be not what I wanted.
Yeah.
And then getting that divorce and then being a 30-year-old woman who was pregnant and alone. You hear about kids who get pregnant when they're 18 and that's expected and it's actually accepted in society. But when you are a 30-year-old woman who's going through, heartbreak and all these emotions and you're having all of these feelings and things that you're still a person, even though you lose yourself in raising children, and I feel like I kind of got to that point with my first marriage where I lost myself and I only identified with serving my husband. I only identified with taking care of these children. And I truly got to a place where it sounds selfish, but I needed to focus on myself so that I could be healthy, so that they could be healthy, functioning adults. And at that point I had a realization that I needed to change my life.
Yes.
And lots of people in that time. So fast forward a little bit to where I was. So I went through a lot after my divorce and then I met my second husband and went through that whole experience. And I had a lot of people at that time that were telling me, see, you didn't do what you were supposed to. You didn't stay on the path. You didn't go to church. You didn't, you have no relationship with God. You're pretty much, which they didn't know me.
Yes, for sure.
Because God was the only one who held me in those dark moments. It was myself and him. That was it. And it's crazy because I cultivated a relationship with God during that time that I could have never experienced at any other time. I had no one else to turn to. And so he broke me open. I had a broken heart. I truly was. And I say this to Greg all the time. He's my third little guy, that he healed my broken heart. And he was my little special gift from God. And nobody at that time, no matter what, could tell me what I was doing was wrong or that I was not adequate enough. I wasn't good enough, because I was. And I had to really humble myself. One of my favorite sayings that I'm always posting is happy, humble, healthy. And I really truly had to choose to be happy every day, be grateful, find gratitude even for the smallest things. But also I needed to humble myself enough to say, God, take this from me, because I can't do it alone. I'm just a mortal person. Yeah. I need you. I need your help. I still, to this day, now, fast forward a little further, and now I have these 6 souls that I am taking care of, and every day it's okay, I might be failing today, but, help me. And he always does. He always shows up. But in those moments of being pregnant and abandoned and alone, and knowing I had nobody, because people didn't understand.
Absolutely.
At 30, I was capable of taking care of myself, and people didn't understand that, why would you do this? Break up your family. Why would you not depend on the church? Why would you not? And it was really crazy because I needed to go within myself to find God.
Yeah. So and that was crazy. The only way. There was no other way.
There wasn't.
Yeah, that's what you needed.
It totally was.
So you kind of bring up something really interesting, and I wasn't really planning on going this way, but
sure.
I kind of feel let's talk about it.
Yeah.
But okay, you mentioned when you're in this place, because I feel this way too. You kind of feel when you're older, I should know certain things or whatever.
I'm a mom. I'm 30. I've lived 35 years of my life. Don't I know it all?
Yeah, exactly. So I kind of want to talk about these well-meaning people in our lives who see us on the outside, and I do value what they say sometimes, because they do see things that I don't see sometimes. However, I feel sometimes well-meaning loved ones can say things that can really damage. Even when you were sharing some of the things that they were saying to you just now, I was ouch. On the outside listening to that, I'm no. Yeah. That hurts, So how did you handle the fact that like some people would say things that just hurt you or could potentially hurt you more in that space? Like, how did you manage working through all of that?
Okay, so basically, I want to go back really quick and just touch on when I first got divorced from my first husband. Yeah. I had kind of an awakening, a remembering, just kind of like an understanding of love so deep that I had never understood before. Yeah. So that way, like at that time in my life, I really understood Christ's journey and Christ's love, because my whole life I had been taught that Christ was perfect. He was the perfect person. He was the perfect human. And not to make this a religious talk, because it's not what it's about, but I, at that time, really could have gone down two different paths. Yeah. I could have been bitter and hateful because I had a lot of people who didn't understand what I was going through. And so their own soul, their own testimony of what they understood was being attacked in a way. Yes. Like me just living my life was making them question their life. Yes. Does that make sense? Yeah, and it's not even like you said, it doesn't even have to be religion wise. It's just people's beliefs, like in general. Well, and what their belief is who they are. I mean, me choosing to live my life in a different way from the way they're living made them question if they could be a part of my life because it goes against what they believe. Yes. Okay. So. Yes. Well, and if we're being honest, I think every single one of us have felt that way, whether we want to admit it or not. Right. When certain things happen, it tends to cause us to go inside and question a few things and almost like, oh, I don't know how I feel about this situation. And instead of kind of like responding like how you did, like going inside and recognizing, okay, there's some things here I don't understand and I want to understand. It's like, I'm afraid of that. I got to kind of, I'm just going to push that away because that's scary. Because you know you're going to lose certain people. Yeah. And that was the thing that, going back to your question, is in those moments, those terrifying, scary moments of, walking away from my church, which, just deciding to not be a part of that for a while. Yes. Just stepping away, just clearing my head, simplifying my life. Yes. Walking away from my husband of 9 years and not necessarily, there was a lot behind that. And that's a whole, and that's okay. But that's this pivotal moment. And in that moment, I decided that no matter what, no matter who came at me or what, I would perceive them with a love filter. And I know that sounds crazy, but that was the only way I knew, like the download I got from, my God, whatever you believe in, was telling me that I needed to go through this experience and I needed to put on a love filter because I was going to experience really dark, scary, lonely things. And I needed to choose love. And in that moment, I had all of these outside factors that were saying, you can't do it. You're not going to do it. I mean, these are people who have the best intentions, who don't quite understand themselves what I'm doing. Yeah. Because they haven't walked in my, and they don't know what to say. So they just say things because sometimes fear or pain or worry and take over. To give them credit, I truly feel in those moments of the interactions of them being involved with me and loving me so deeply. Yes. They receive their own downloads. Yes. They receive their own going inside and trying to compartmentalize how to love somebody who has changed their mind. Yeah. And so I had to take all of those comments and all of the maybe it came across as mean, but all of the opinions and just receive them in love. And I'm not perfect and I'm always trying, but I really, in those moments of, okay, now I get to tell everybody my husband's not coming back. Yeah. He never was here. Yeah. I left my husband. I rushed right into this relationship with this new person and he never came and he isn't here anymore. And that takes so much courage. And I'm pregnant with a baby. I'm bringing a soul into the world and people can't. It's just not a normal thing. Yeah. It's just one of those things like, see, I told you so. But in the moments of people telling me, well, do you think you aren't capable of taking care of 3 kids on your own. You know, I was working a part-time dental assisting job. Like, do you think, you know, or now the abortion stuff, that came from obviously outside, not my family. That was like outside sources that were saying, this is the only way. Like, women do this all the time. You can abort this baby. You can be rid of this problem and go back to life as normal.
Yeah.
But my deep belief, like my soul, like I know deep in my heart that I had these soul contracts, these agreements with these little souls to get them here. I mean, it's a portal. It's a journey for them. And there's no way I wasn't going to honor his journey. And I promised to get him here. So in those moments, again, I chose love. I chose to love that little boy. Yeah. And there was lots of nights of crying, pleading with God. Like, like it really makes me think of like Christ in, you know, the garden saying, take this cup from me. Like, I can't hold it. And God just reminded him, like, this is what you were made for. You know, you can. This is your journey. Like, you ask for this. And that's the crazy part. In those moments of darkness, I really kept reminding myself, I know someday that these moments are important for me to understand so I can have empathy for others. Because they're really hard. They're really mortal, hard things that we go through. Yes. And so I'm really grateful that I was able to experience the dark, because without the darkness, there isn't light. Like, I can't appreciate what I have now, 6 beautiful children, a beautiful relationship with a man who isn't perfect, and I'm not perfect either. But having gone through, you know, the complete opposites in different times in my life, I truly don't think I could appreciate those little moments. And all the little moments I have with Greg, I just think and this is just me speaking for myself, because I know there's lots of people out there who have to make hard choices.
And you've always honored others.
Yeah, and I don't judge that. So, I mean, I have lots of friends. I have lots of friends who have had to do different things to get through. Yes. This is just my own personal, journey. And that's really, I think, what just choosing the love filter.
And I love that you said it in that way, because it's easier for me, like, sometimes when I have like a word for it, because sometimes like choosing love isn't very easy. Right. And I like, because when you say like love filter, I feel like, okay, this is an actual choice that I am placing a filter over my lens.
No, seriously, that's how, I mean, I don't know if you're aware, but like when you're on set, like if you're on stage, because my sister's, she does acting, and I've been around stage, and I've been around some video and stuff, and they have different filters for lights. Yes. That come blue, yellow, red, to change the color, to change the feeling. Yes. And that's really like something that came to me, and that's how clearly I feel. I saw it. I choose the love filter.
Well, and it's so interesting, because the more that I do these interviews, the more people that I talk to, I'm recognizing that the common pattern with all of them is that they're taking the time, number one, to actually think for themselves, because you are, no matter what your situation is, you're going to have all these outside communicators.
Yeah, totally.
And all these outside messages and expectations and all these things. And,
totally.
And so I kind of feel like every single one who I've talked to, they've made this choice. I want something different for this experience. Right. And so you kind of like go in and you're like, okay, I don't want to go down the bitter road, like what you said. And I feel like that's like the very first step, because none of us really know how to navigate the love filter at first.
Like, well, and that's the thing about love, is like, you don't really know like how or what it is. Like, exactly. You don't, because love doesn't always feel good.
No, it doesn't.
And it's pain sometimes. That's the thing that's so crazy, is love doesn't always feel good. Yes. Like, but it's necessary.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely. So. And it's part of that, like, it's part of that journey of recognizing and learning how to have that love filter. And like, I kind of feel like you gave yourself a lot of grace in that too. And you had to have courage. I mean, because you did have to be able to stay. And I love that too, because I feel like sometimes, especially for me too, I know well-meaning people say things to me. Yeah. And coming from a place of love, and it's not always like, easy to be able to receive that sometimes because
Right.
I get triggered by it.
Right.
Or I'm
Totally.
like, oh, so wait, are you saying that you don't trust what I'm doing?
Right.
Or,
Yeah.
and so I have to work on learning how to change my filter.
Right.
So that when they say something to me, I'm like, okay, I know that you love me.
I know this is coming from a place of love, even though you're not telling me I'm inadequate.
Yes.
And I can't take care of this baby.
Yes.
Going back to that.
Yes.
I know that's not what you're saying.
Yes.
You're saying, have you considered adoption? Because there's
Yes.
somebody else that may be able to
yes.
help this.
Yes.
You know, so that's where they're coming from. And
Yes.
in that moment, I could have taken that as like,
yes.
What? How dare you even have that, like, doubt in me?
I've totally had moments like that.
You know?
Yes.
Where I'm like, but then in those moments, I had to find compassion and go, thank you for your, you know, concern. I love the fact that you love me enough to come to me.
And to share with me what you're really feeling.
Like, that maybe this is too much for me. I hope that you respect me in saying, I know I can take care of this. I know I'm strong enough. Trust in me that I'm strong.
Yes.
Just, I love you. Meet me at this the level ground of love. Like,
thank you.
You know,
that's exactly what I wanted to hear.
This is our meeting ground.
Yes.
Like we both have, you see things your way, I see things my way. We don't always agree.
Yes.
But we can meet in the middle and agree that we love each other.
Yes. And I hope you guys are listening to this and taking notes because this is the type of stuff I just feel like all of us could use help in is knowing how to say things.
Yeah.
Like Jessa and I used to work at a dental office together and it was all about verbiage and it was all about how do you
role
say
play
things and role playing. We would have to practice saying things, but you know what's funny is I now use that with my kids.
I totally do.
And
too.
I use it with like, okay, let's try this.
Life lessons. Little did we know back in that little dental office that we would be, these are life lessons.
Exactly.
Seriously.
So I hope when you're listening to this, you're recognizing that all of us are learning how to, number one, communicate with each other.
Yeah, totally.
How to get over some of our filters and some of our triggers.
Yeah.
And then recognizing that we always have a choice to create something different.
And I don't always choose the love filter, by the way.
Neither do I.
In the heat of the moment, I'm a very passionate person. I say things and I'm like, what did I do? So I'm like, okay, I'm preaching this, but and it takes a lot of practice.
It does.
It really does.
Yes.
Like and also not just love filter to other people, but for myself. It's huge. Like to put the love filter on for myself and say, okay, you are enough, Jessa. You are good enough. You're beautiful. Like, even though I just had a baby 8 weeks ago and I'm feeling just not pretty, you know, I don't feel like myself. I still have to choose love for myself.
Oh my gosh.
And that's huge. You have to remember that. Like that not only are you choosing to put a love filter on for others and receiving, but we have this negative self-talk in our head, our doubt all the time. Yes. And I have to put my love filter on for myself and say, okay, Jessa, you are valid. You are strong enough. Stop it. Stop telling yourself, you know, because it really is important. Yes. Self-love is so important. Yes. And that goes back to why, you know, I've been through these different transitions in my life is I've lost myself and I've had to forgive myself. I have had to love myself even in the hardest moments where I'm not feeling worthy of love.
Yeah. And you of all people, I feel do this really well, but you've also kind of like shown me that loving yourself doesn't always mean you just let yourself off the hook either. Like you're really good at calling yourself out too.
Oh
like,
yeah.
Like part of love. Yeah. Like part of real love is recognizing that you have like boundaries with yourself and you recognize when to say, oh, wow. Yeah, I was wrong about that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, how am I going to change that? And I've seen you do that. Like, I've seen you go through processes where you've been like, okay, I love myself enough to recognize this is not the right thing for me right now. So I'm going to change course right here and go this way. Yeah. And you're always honoring what you're really experiencing. And it's been perfect for what you've needed to get to where you are. And now for these kids. And, and now talking with me and whoever's listening to this.
Right.
Because I feel like so often, like we all are trying to, like most of the time we really are trying to help each other.
Yes.
And we just don't know how to do that.
Right.
And so these type of situations, what you're sharing really helps me to know exactly what to say to people too in a different light. Yeah. And be able to say, okay, there's something I need to say. Right. And it's coming from love. Right. But I'm not sure how to describe it. And I'm not really good at this. So let's just try.
Well, and this goes back to like, just to bring everything together is it's an equal energy exchange. If you can meet together and say, okay, Sasha, you don't maybe agree with me.
Yes.
And you don't see where I'm coming from.
Yes.
And I absolutely, and I think this applies really important now because there's so much going on with the coronavirus and politics and 5G. And there's so many things and so many opinions. And we get lost in judging others and them judging us and them not seeing eye to eye. And I think if we could just come together and have this equal energy exchange where we say, okay, Sasha, you love me, right?
Yeah.
And I say, I love you.
Right? Yeah.
And we come to this meeting spot where, okay, I love you. You see things differently than I do. And you feel that same way with me. Then we can sit down in a conversation and actually, talk and get and make a difference. Yes. Because
like it's
not about debating who's right or wrong.
Yes.
It's like respecting and listening and saying, okay, I love you enough to listen.
Yes.
And you love me enough to listen. Now, and it's this equal energy exchange that I wish more people could have.
Me too. And it's not like I'm listening to you so that I can convince you of why I'm right.
Right.
Because I've been guilty of that.
I know, right? I have an agenda. You have to listen to what I have to say.
It's more so like, this is a human with a heart that I actually really do love. Yeah. And at the end of the day, like, we do have a lot of differences and opinions or whatever else, but I love you enough that I want to hear what you have to say just to understand who you are, not to change what you believe. Right.
And we can do it in a way to be kind.
Yeah.
But we can also have courage to talk to each other.
The courage part and being willing to, like, this might blow up.
Yeah.
And we might have to try this 10 billion times before we can actually sit down and talk normal about this.
But at least we're willing to.
We're really trying. Exactly.
Totally.
Okay, so last thing, and then we'll kind of close this up. But now, like, having looked through where you're at, where you've been, and where you're at now with your kids, like, you just have this, like, you always write happy, humble, healthy, right? What you said.
Yep.
And happy, humble, healthy. Did I say that right?
A happy, humble, healthy.
Okay.
Yeah. HHH.
Okay, good. HHH. How, like, if somebody's listening to this, recognizing, like, I am in darkness right now, and I want to get to where she's at, like, and we've talked about all these choices that we can make and all this stuff, but, like, what's something that you do every day that could, like, help somebody recognize?
Honestly, I truly feel like happiness is a choice, and I'm not good at this all the time, but I feel like if I can wake up every morning and realize what a gift that day is, choose no matter what, even if it's I'm waking up to my crying baby who needs to eat, like, what a gift that I have a baby to feed, so it's choosing to start the day, with the love filter, gratitude filter, to choose to be thankful that I'm alive and I get to experience this journey because it's so short.
It is.
And I'm going to fail over and over and over and over again during that day. Yeah. I know it's inevitable. I know it's coming. Hardship is part of living. Yes. And I know it's coming. But what a gift that I get to lay down my head. I get to rest. I get to reflect on what I learned that day. And that I have the morning the next day to start all over again. And that's the beautiful part about being a mother, because children are so forgiving.
Oh, they are so forgiving.
So if that's my takeaway from this, is just no matter what you're going through, if you're in the darkest times, if you aren't in a dark time, but you're in a stuck time, that you have a chance and a choice to find gratitude every day in the smallest things, and that we get to really start over every day. We get to start over again every day and have a second chance at it. And that's a gift. It really is.
It's truly a gift.
So,
I love that.
Yeah, that's my little spiel.
Jessa, you're amazing. I'm going to have you on more.
Yes.
Just so you know.
I would love it.
So I hope all of you listening really could take away some things today and just recognize that we all go through really dark times and we all go through some hard things, and that there's hope that we can change things, and we just take it one step at a time.
Yep.
And I love what you had to say. So
I
thank
love you, Sasha.
Love
Thank
filters.
You for doing this.
Thank you. Okay, we'll see you guys next time.